Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. Appreciate everybody being in here. It was a crazy Tuesday inside the Big 12. Basketball really heating up. Some good basketball games. Kansas State, Lord have mercy, doing it again. Cincinnati, those old Cincinnati Bearcats, great win by them. We'll go down the list, but you know what today is? Today is Wednesday, man. Power rankings are out today. There's some movement, just like I always tell you, man. If you don't like the power rankings one week, come back the next week. They will be totally different, and they are different again today. New number one in the power rankings in the Big 12. So we'll get to all of that and more, but before we do, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in that comment section and let me know what you like, you don't like, and always hit the notification bell so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. Remember, Thursday night, tomorrow, we're doing a live. We used to do all our shows live, but we're going live tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time, so make sure you guys are there. No basketball going on. You guys have asked me to do some live so I can talk to you guys, you know, specifically and answer questions and go back and forth with you. So make sure you guys show up for the live tomorrow. So let's get into this. First, we'll do a little recap from last night. Iowa State goes on the road, beats UCF. UCF, that ship is underwater. It is taking on a ton of water. They can't get out of it. Iowa State gets back on the winning track. Well, they got on the winning track last week. They're on a 2-game win streak. Good win on the road. UCF plays well at home, and Iowa State was able to go there and get a win. Kansas beats Colorado. I thought it'd be a get-right game. I really did. I thought they would put it to Colorado at home. They did not. I don't know. I mean, Kansas is inconsistent, but I think we're going to have to get used to Kansas. Not this particular Kansas team is just not a dominant team, and that's okay. That's okay. There's still a good basketball team, so let's not lose sight of that. Cincinnati Bearcats, the old Bearcats, get a win over Utah at home, 85-75. I've told y'all before, they dangled that carrot in front of me. I grabbed it. I am back on board with my old Cincinnati Bearcats. That's a good win for them. We'll talk a little bit more about them later. BYU, man, was that a good road win at West Virginia. Now, granted, again, we talk about sinking ships. West Virginia is on one of those. They're taking on a ton of water, and I'm not sure that they can get out of it. We'll see, but that's a good win for BYU, man. After a couple struggles the last couple of games, to go on the road and get this win, yeah, they needed. I mean, this road winning, basically, they were on the bubble. You look at any bracketologies, they're on the bubble. One had them as the last team in. You go on the road, beat West Virginia, who was firmly in at this point. I'm not sure that's going to last, but you wouldn't get that game. That takes you off the bubble. That gets you into the tournament. Absolutely. And then the best game of the night, Kansas State beats Arizona. Both teams were red hot coming into the game. Kansas State wins 73-70. Look, this wasn't a game where Kansas State played out of their mind. Like, they didn't shoot the ball. They made 15 threes. No, they didn't. They made one. They shot 5% for three. Now, Arizona made 2 threes. They were 2 for 22, so they shot 9%. So neither team shot the ball worth a damn. Arizona beat the brakes off of Kansas State on the boards. They out-rebounded them 46-33, so they crushed them. But as the old saying goes, you can offset being out-rebounded by turning the other team over. Kansas State was able to do that. Arizona had 17 turnovers. Kansas State capitalized on that, turned that into 23 points. There's your game right there. You know, Kansas State even missed 10 free throws. So it's not like, oh, well, they went to the line and they made 18 out of 19 free throws. No, they didn't. They were 61%. They missed 10 free throws, including 2 at the end of the game, that if Arizona makes another late last or half-court shot, they could have tied the game. They missed 2 of those. One of them would have won the game, but it is what it is. But good victory, again, by Kansas State. They're peaking. And I think this is the right time. They got tough games coming up, A lot of work to do, but Kansas State has played themselves onto the bubble. Regardless of what you see in any bracketology stuff, Kansas State has played themselves onto the bubble. We'll get to them in a little bit. So, but that's basically the rundown as far as what happened last night. The games that are coming on tonight. Let's get to that real quick. The games that are coming on tonight: Oklahoma State going to TCU. We'll see. We'll see. TCU is so inconsistent, just not good. I still like the fight that Oklahoma State brings to the table. Arizona State going to Tech. Get right game for Tech, in my opinion. It still got a sour taste in their mouth from losing to Arizona on Saturday. They're not happy about that. They will probably take it out on Tech. We'll see. Or not take it out on Tech, take it out on Arizona State, excuse me. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Arizona State's still talented, but the coaching and have they quit? We'll figure all that out tonight. Be an interesting watch. It'll be an interesting watch. But let's get to these power rankings, people. So first things up, number 16. I'm sorry. Call me whatever you want. Until I see the fight that I want to see from Arizona State, they're a dumpster fire because of their coach. They are going to be number 16. I get it. Colorado's lost. They haven't won a league game. Lost 12 in a row. I see more fight from Colorado than I do Arizona State, so I'm going to put Arizona State there. Call me biased. Call me whatever you want. I don't care. Arizona State is there until they prove otherwise, period. Colorado at 15. End of story. They're still fighting. Saw a ton of fight from them in Lawrence last night, so they're at 15. And number 14, UCF. My goodness. I mentioned before, the ship is sinking. And it is. They are, it is panic time. It is panic time for UCF Knights, man. They've played a lot of tough teams. Their schedule does lighten up here, but they've played a lot of tough teams. The problem is they haven't beaten any of those lately. Like, they got a couple of good wins early, but they haven't beaten anybody lately. This is the exact wrong time that you want to go into a tailspin, and that's exactly what they have done. I don't know, man. 7 of 8, including 5 straight. And I'm talking about losing 7 of 8, including 5 straight. That's not a way to end the season. Right now, I got them at 12. Utah, still fight. Still a tough team. I got them at 11. Look, they got both Kansas and Kansas State at home coming up. So win a couple of those games, man. You get yourself back into, the middle of the race, I guess. I don't suspect Utah is going to win or be a factor. Matter of fact, I know they won't be a factor in the Big 12 title, but they can be a disruptor. That's what I would say. They can be a disruptor. You get these two teams coming to your place, you upset either one of them or both, you have a direct impact on the Big 12 title or their tournament hopes, especially Kansas State's, when you yourself may not be in those categories, if that makes sense. So got Utah at 11. At number 10, look, I got West Virginia. I talked about the ship sinking. They are absolutely tanking. They're starting to play inconsistent. That was a game that they needed at BYU last night, or at home against BYU last night. They needed that basketball game, and they didn't get it. We'll talk about BYU here in just a second, but the next 3 games for West Virginia are this: at Baylor, Cincinnati, at Tech. Ugh. So 2 of the next 3 are on the road, and the home game is Cincinnati, who's streaking. So I don't know, man. They're the team. Now, I mentioned this about Baylor earlier in the year, a team you thought was going to make the tournament and is going to fall out of it. I think I've got to change my opinion on that. I think it's West Virginia. West Virginia is catching water on that boat, and the hole might as well be the size of a bowling ball, and they just can't get out of it. And they no matter what they do, and they can't plug it up. They got to get this thing turned around because, like I said, every metric has them firmly in the tournament, but you continue to lose games. That's not going to be the case. I would say the next bracketology that people come out with, West Virginia is going to be on the bubble. Now, they do have good wins. Don't get me wrong. They have really good wins, which helps. But you got to get the ship turned back in the right direction, man. And right now, it is not going in that direction. Number 9, we got Baylor. Baylor, I think this is just the Baylor team that we're going to see. I know injuries have been a problem with Baylor, but I think this is just the team that we're going to see from them. Just inconsistent. They're going to win some. They're going to lose some. They're just not going to compete for the Big 12. They're not going to compete in the tourney. They'll be in the tournament, don't get me wrong, but they're not going to be a factor. They're too inconsistent. And when you're inconsistent, that's a recipe for disaster. That's a first-round knockout in the tournament when teams are inconsistent. And that's what this Baylor team is. Now, I believe in Scott Drew. I think Scott Drew is a great coach, and he can get it turned around if it can get turned around. And it may not be able to, but at this point, I think that's what we just have to say. Baylor is just an inconsistent basketball team. We got to live with that. So, number 8, BYU. Huge resume-building win at West Virginia last night. Gigantic. Like I said, most people had them on the bubble. Some had them in, but most had them on the bubble. Now they're off that bubble. I mean, that's a resume-building win. I mean, if you need a win to get you off the bubble, what you want to do is go to a team that's in the tournament, go on the road, and go win. They did that. So, dangerous team down the stretch. Dangerous team. So they got a big one, Kansas State, coming to town. So we'll see. That's a big game for them. Big game for both teams. See if they can keep that train rolling. But they needed it. They were coming off of a 2-game losing streak. BYU, still a very dangerous team in the Big 12 Conference. At number 7, I'll give you 100 guesses who I have at number 7. The old Cincinnati Bearcats, people. My new favorite team, the Cincinnati Bearcats, are back in Big B's good graces, back playing good basketball. Lord have mercy. 3 in a row, playing confident, playing well. And here's the thing, all jokes aside, Cincinnati's playing hard. That's the thing, is that their toughness got questioned, and it should have been, by a lot of different people. How tough were they? How hard are they actually playing? Maybe that got through. Now I will admit the schedule hasn't been the most difficult, but sometimes you need that to get back going the right direction. Well, the schedule gets tougher as we move forward, but all I will say is this. They don't have a ton of resume-building wins. That's the thing. They don't. The next 2 games, at Iowa State, at West Virginia. Some people would say, well, if you split those 2 games, I'm not sure if you lose at Iowa State and you beat West Virginia, who I already mentioned is a sinking ship. I'm not sure that builds your resume. I think you have to win both. I really do. They don't have a ton of games left on their schedule that you're going to say, hey, this is resume building. They've got these 2 and at Houston, and then I don't know, man. I mean, they got Kansas State, and we'll see what Kansas State is at the time. We'll see where they are, but I don't know. Have they blown their chance? That's my thing about Cincinnati. Did they lose too many? I would say if you can get above 500 in this conference, then I wouldn't say that you've lost too many. But we'll see, because, again, who did you play? Who did you beat? Cincinnati, that's the problem with Cincinnati. I mean, you look at their schedule, their best win, what is it, Xavier? Maybe Dayton? I don't know. That's their best win so far this season. They need to build that resume a little bit up here moving forward. At 6, Kansas. KU's just so inconsistent. They're win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1, and then they won 1. So I really thought, like I mentioned before, I thought it would be a big get-right game for Kansas against Colorado. I did. I thought they'd go, and then they're at home. I thought they would just punish Colorado. Now, I did mention Colorado keeps fighting. First of all, they got a good coach. Tad Boyle's a good coach, and they haven't quit. That's the thing. They haven't quit. So when you have a good coach and players haven't quit, sometimes you're just not blowing those teams out. Houston found that out this weekend when they went to Colorado. But again, like I mentioned, I think we just have to get comfortable with saying that Kansas isn't the dominant Kansas team that some may have predicted or we thought was going to be the dominant team that they are. They're not that. But you know what? You don't always have to be the dominant team to win a national championship. Now, I'm not predicting that Kansas is going to do that. Obviously, they'll get in the tournament and matchups matter, but you don't have to be the most dominant basketball team to win an NCAA tournament, especially this year. I mean, do you see any dominant teams out there? Because I really don't. I think it's a free-for-all, which I love. Because, again, you know me. I love chaos. And chaos is exactly what we're going to get in March Madness. So, at number 5, I got Iowa State. They're back on track after losing 3 straight. They've won 2 straight. I still really like Iowa State. Every team goes through adversity, man. Every team goes through it. They went through theirs. They're starting to right the ship, and we'll see moving forward. I really like them. I love their chances moving deep into the NCAA tournament, and I think they're going to be there at the end when it comes down to this Big 12 race. They're going to be there. They may not win it. We'll see. But I think they're going to have a say in it one way or another. Iowa State's too good for that. Too good for that. Number 4, Kansas State won 6 games in a row. There's an argument could be made that Kansas State should be higher. There's an argument that can be made for that. Now, the reason that I didn't put them higher is because the 3 other teams, look, you can't do power rankings, in my opinion. This is my way of thinking power rankings. Everybody can have their own opinion, and that's fine. But you can't just eliminate everything that you've seen, okay? So, obviously, Kansas State's one of the hottest teams in the country. So, it's easy to put them at 1. Well, do you put them at 1 when a team has won 13 out of the last 15 games? I mean, Kansas State hasn't done that. So some of this, you have to go back a little ways. It can't just be what happened yesterday for all of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, you're going to get to that, and I'm going to get to 2 and 3, and you're going to say, well, Big B, you're contradicting yourself. No, I'm not. No, I'm not, especially when things are even. But everything, every criteria in my power rankings can't just be, hey, this happened yesterday, that's it. Hey, this happened yesterday, that's the only thing that matters. Some of this has to be a collection. And that's why I have Kansas State at 4, is because they've won 6 in a row. 4 of those games have been against ranked teams. I mean, they're playing well, but they aren't better, in my opinion, right now than the other 2 teams if you put them on a neutral site. Let's just call it that. Win 1 at home, win 1 away. Okay, that's fine. You win on your home court, but put everybody on a neutral site. What do you think based on how they're playing right now? That's my opinion. That's why I have Kansas State right where they are. So at number 3, Texas Tech. Now, Red Raider fans, I know what you're going to say. How are you going to put Arizona ahead of us? Well, they just beat you. Well, come on, Big B. You literally just said what just happened doesn't mean anything. Hold on, man. It's not like Arizona hasn't won a whole bunch of games in a row. They have, And it's not like Houston hasn't won a whole bunch of games in a row. I feel like the top 3, you could have just thrown it up, just put their names in a hat and just picked one out. But my criteria was Arizona just beat Tech. They literally just beat them. If you put them in a neutral site, I think Arizona's better. Are they? We'll find out, I think, because Big 12 tournament will tell us, But again, you don't like the rankings, come back next week. It'll be different. I mean, that's the one thing I know for an absolute fact. But I still like Tech. I've loved Tech all along. They're at 3. They were 1 last week. Sometimes you lose, you got to drop, man. It's just the way the world works. It's just the way the world works. Not disrespect. It's just the way the world works. But again, I like Tech. Are they going to have a say in who wins this damn conference? Absolutely, they are. I believe in them that much. They're going to be good. They're going to be there at the end. But they're at 3 this week. I've got Arizona 2. Tough loss last night to Kansas State. Can't turn the ball over that many times on the road and expect to win. You're just against good competition. You're not going to do that. They did. Even though you won the rebounding battle, you didn't offset that by shooting because you shot miserably from 3. Now, Kansas State shot even worse. But having said all of that, I still really like Arizona. I really like Arizona. Like I said, tough loss, but it was on the road, 3 points. You shot miserable on a neutral site. I think you're better than K-State, but we'll see moving forward. Houston is number one for me this week. They won 3 in a row since that loss to Tech. It's been relatively easy schedule. Things will get tough for them because next up is Arizona. So things are going to get tough in a hurry. It's just like I said, people, you don't like the power rankings, come back next week. They'll be different. They will be different. So that's what we got for you this week, man. I appreciate everybody being in here and always checking us out and supporting, whether you like what I'm saying or not. You guys get in the comments and you do it in a respectful way, which is all we ask. Again, remember, Thursday night, 7 p.m., going to be live. Hope as many people can make it as possible. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. We're going to start doing that moving forward Thursday night because, again, no games are on for the Big 12. Nothing to get in to distract us, to get in our way. So I might as well get on here and talk to you guys, man. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you as always, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.